Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to our podcast for this week. I am
Yay!
Deb from Madam Stitch, and I am joined by,
Biz from Busy Crochet.
and we're the duo behind There's No Crying in Crochet, the podcast where we talk about all of the things that trouble you and true crime, and then some. So you always get an extra treat. So welcome to our podcast.
Yes.
While we're here, we'll do some business first. All right. Make sure you subscribe to both of our YouTube channels because I know Biz is very busy getting tutorials ready for YouTube. And I'm going to be doing some tutorials as well for an upcoming blanket crochet along. So we have lots of things going on besides this broadcast, which means when you like and subscribe, you get all of the first notifications when that stuff arrives. Perfect. And if you happen to be watching us on Facebook, which I hope you are, give StreamYard permission to display your name so we can see your name in the chat. And that way we are talking to a person, not a Facebook chat bot. So that would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. That's the business. Biz.
Yes.
What's up this week?
Well, in Florida, we had a hurricane come through, but it was on the peninsula side. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me asking if we're all right. Yes, thank you so much for showing your concern. Appreciate it more than you know. But we are safely tucked on the left side of Florida in the Panhandle, which we get a hurricane about once every 10 years or so. So we don't really get the brunt of it. But be praying for those that have been in the path of this hurricane, because I know they talked about it possibly swooping around and coming back over the peninsula again. I don't know if it's doing that or not, but hopefully not.
Well, I really hope not, because living as close to the East Coast as we do, we get hurricanes that come up the East Coast and just drag all of that moisture and horrible things up the coast. So I know exactly what that feels like.
Nor'easters.
So I'm glad you are safe.
Yes, we are.
Anything else going on besides just surviving the weather?
Been a really chill week. I have been busy working on a new Christmas blanket design, which I'm super excited about, but it's a secret. So I'm not really showing much of it right now. I think you guys are going to love it though, because it's going to be a free pattern and it's going to be with Nana's crafty home. And so it'll be free forever. And I'm just kind of excited about that.
And by the way, I just saw it and it's awesome. So you need to do it. Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
And you, Miss Debbie, what have you been up to?
Well, we finished off, we're very homebody. So generally, if we have the choice to go out and stay in is the winner almost every time. This summer, we've done random activities like go to concerts and do outdoor things. This past weekend, my husband and I drove it about an hour away to a little town called Jim Thorpe. Now that name may sound familiar because Jim Thorpe was a very famous Olympian. And the town, I think he's from the town, so it's named after him.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so it's in the Lehigh River runs through this part of Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is absolutely gorgeous, y'all. It's got lush rolling hills. The Pocono Mountains are about a half an hour away. And this sits right in the Lehigh River Gorge. So there's lots of tubing and rafting and stuff like that. We didn't do that. But we went up there for the weekend, got an Airbnb, and just hung out.
Nice.
Saw some of the historic stuff. We went hiking. And it was just a really sweet, relaxing weekend. And now it's the fall, being today is September 1st, and we're off to the races. But that was just a really nice way to end the summer vacation.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
Really nice.
So that is what was going on this week. All right. Are we ready to get into today's episode?
We are.
Okay.
Very ready.
All right. today's episode, we're so excited because the whole month of September, except for next week where we'll do an informational podcast, we are focusing on crochet fall fashion, in particular accessories. So we're not really talking about, that I know of, unless we change our minds, sweaters and cardigans and all of that kind of stuff, wearables. We're talking mostly about accessories. And today is, oh, wait, I've got the wrong banner up.
It's okay.
Where to go? Oh, wait, there it is. Look,
it
there
moved.
it is. Yay! It's a miracle.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
why Biz was looking so confused.
Wow,
Because
we did that one already.
Traveling back in time to do that episode again, because we know we have lots more to talk about. Just kidding.
Absolutely.
But today we're going to be talking about neckwear accessories, and I am so excited because this is probably my favorite thing to design and make, is everything neckwear. I just crank them out like there's no tomorrow.
I'm blankets, and then probably next would be neckwear for me as well. It's just, they're simple, they're easy, they're like the small project versus the big project.
And I absolutely love how a simple scarf, so we're donning some of our own things, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is just something simple that I crocheted up. I know Biz is wearing one of hers, and behind me you can see another one, the Anera Infinity scarf. I love to make them because they just dress up an outfit. You could be wearing a burlap sack, put on a beautiful scarf, and people go, "You look great."
Yes.
Of course, I don't wear burlap sacks, and I'm sure you don't either, but you know what I'm talking about.
They're a little itchy. I mean, have you ever run into actual burlap?
Yeah. And not
itchy.
Cool.
I have a story about burlap if you ever want to know it.
Oh my goodness.
I made the mistake of washing it once.
Oh, what happened?
In a washer, and then drying it in a dryer. And it basically disintegrated and filled my entire dryer up with burlap particles. And it took me so long to clean that out.
Oh no.
It was unbelievable. And make everything stink, because it's got that kind of tarry smell to it.
Yep.
Holy cow. It was such a mistake. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I've never done it again. Obviously.
Was there a particular reason why you washed burlap? I mean, because it does stink.
Yes. It was that. And I wanted to use it for a project, but I wanted to kind of get that smell out of it. And it was going in one of my kids' rooms because I wanted to use it. This is back when, I can't remember what his name was, but he used to do cheap wallpaper using fabric and like starch, and he would put it on the walls. And I was going to do that with the burlap. Big mistake. It was bad. I don't recommend it.
No, no, it sounds quite awful, actually.
It was traumatic.
Thankfully, you're past it now.
way past it. Way.
All right. I'm going to get us back on track here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I totally
No. You know what? That's perfectly fine. All right. So we have several different types of neckwear that we're going to talk about today. Yes. We're going to do scarves, cowls. You've got your pocket shawls, pocket scarves. And a new trend that I'm seeing pop up, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But let's start with scarves. Okay. So I have to pick up my absolute favorite scarf. It's looking a little peaked these days, but this is my Heartland Granny Square scarf. I mean, it's just join as you go in autumn colors. I pull that baby out when it starts to get a little bit cooler, and I wrap it around. It's long enough. I think this is about 80 inches long. So I love to make them long so that I can double wrap them. So I'm going to take this off for a second. One of the things that I absolutely love about scarves is the different ways that you can style them. So I'm not standing up, so you can't see them hung long around me. No, I'm not standing up. But what I love to fold them in half. Wait, here it is. Okay.
Yep.
And take this part, thread the other part through, ooch it up a little bit, and then it stays wrapped and hangs straight down. And you can just pull that apart and show it off and all that. I love doing that. You've got yours wrapped in a
I always
traditional
do
way.
mine. Yeah, I always do mine so that I can wrap it around twice and just kind of leave it hanging here. That way, if I'm warm, I can open it up. Or if I'm, freezing, I could it tucks nicely inside of a jacket that way. And I can, fluff it up around my face if I need to. This one is my Four Seasons scarf. I love scarves just because they are so nice to, like, if you're working on learning a new stitch pattern, scarves are like the way to go because you work the pattern to death, so you know it by the time you're done, but then you've got something really useful and smart afterwards.
And I use them as Christmas gifts every year. I mean, my daughter and daughter-in-law have a big selection of cowls and scarves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the fact that scarves are versatile. I have one, I don't have it here, but I have one. I have a lot of fingering weight yarn in my stash. I don't know why I went through a phase of buying fingering weight yarn because I absolutely hate to work with it because
Oh,
it's
do
so
you
tiny.
really? Oh no.
Oh my gosh. I would get drawn in by the indie dyers who had these absolutely phenomenal colors. And I go, I want that one and that one and that. And so I've got a whole basket full of one skein wonders, right? So a couple years ago, I started just winding them up and creating little summer scarves for them
Oh, fun.
out of them. And so I've got a couple of things in my shop that have that use fingering weight yarn. One hank, I chose a stitch and I just keep going until I'm done. And it makes a nice little summer edition scarf. So I love using it for my stash.
We've got a couple of comments here. Just me Linnea says fingering weight is my favorite. I can't click on these.
Oh, hold on. Oh, here we go.
Fingering weight is your favorite. Fingering weight is actually one of my favorite ones to work with too when I'm doing shawls and things like that. Of course, that's later in the month, but that's what I do with my fingering weights just because for me to do I take that back. There is one I make. It's not my own design, but it's called Portobello Road. And it is a sampler scarf that works up beautifully in DK weight and fingering yarn. And it's one of my favorite scarves to make. Connie also says make a Doctor Who scarf. That's the one that just goes until like
I know
week.
I think it's like 150 inches long. It's like insane,
7,
right?
Yeah, oh gosh, yes.
Now I want to say, don't get me wrong. I think fingering weight is absolutely gorgeous because it's just the weight is phenomenal. But I find it difficult to work with, I think, because I'm trying to use too small of a hook. So the couple of scarves that I've made in fingering weight, I used a slightly larger hook, and that seemed to work okay. So I'm giving it a chance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work with it.
Yeah.
But I'm a DK worsted weight girl.
Yeah.
Through and through.
That's pretty much
That's
where
my
I
jam.
live.
Yep.
Yeah. I like scarves because they make me feel like I have less of a second chin. I can kind of hide behind it.
Let me pick this one up. So one of the things that I was going to talk, this might be too long to do this, but I was going to talk about how you can convert a regular scarf into an infinity scarf. So basically, I can't look at myself and do this. So basically, you just keep wrapping it around. This is going to be very tall.
That is a long one. Holy cow.
I think it might be 80 inches. But you can just kind of work those ends
nice.
in.
I like that. Yes.
And then So I'm losing my
Ruh-roh.
hearing as well. Then you can just tuck it in and it looks like a regular cowl or an infinity scarf.
Oh, I like it. I like the
Yeah.
way that so a little bit longer one than mine because mine
Mhm.
is just pretty much traditional length.
Yeah.
But let me see if I can kind of. Nope, I can't. I can tell right now I'm going to choke myself.
No, this is great for when you've got that coat buttoned all the way up.
Mhm.
We
Yep.
have very weird patterns here in the Lehigh Valley in that we sit between the Pocono Mountains and the Appalachian Trail and
Mhm.
the ocean, and just it's just kind of a wedge.
Yeah.
And depending upon how the weather patterns are going, we could get 3 feet of snow,
Oh,
or like
fun.
last winter, it's 50 all winter. So you just, and then the wind could blow, below zero, or it can be, let's wear our shorts outside in December.
Mhm.
So you just never know. Um, but I love to do that when I've got my coat all buttoned up to the very top and it just kind of envelops
Yes.
everything.
Yes, and that's what
Mhm.
I love. It's just like you just kind of sink down into it. It's just it's so cocoony and
That's
it feels
that's
so good.
that's very attractive, Biz. All right.
It is. We do have
Let's
a couple
see.
more comments too.
Oh,
I wish
thank
I could click on
you.
them.
Oh, thanks. I like I said, that's one of my all-time favorite scarves. It's
Yeah,
made out of Lion Brand Heartland, which is just a gorgeous, saturated, really satiny worsted weight. It
love it.
works up beautifully, and the colors are just insanely
Mhm.
gorgeous. So one of my favorites. Um, oh, here's back to fingering weight. I know I think I'm being a little scattered today, but it hurts my hand to use tiny hooks. See, I think that's the problem I've been encountering is that um, I always assume I have to use a really little hook with fingering weight, and you really
Mhm.
don't. You can go
Mhm.
all the way up to an E or an F, I think.
Mhm. I use F.
Right?
I literally oh, okay, I can't say that I never go smaller than an F. I will once in a while use like a D or yeah, about a D, but or a C. But I primarily use an F when I use fingering weight just because I know it's a little bit more loose and drapey, but
Hmm.
I also am not, causing hand cramps and just like what we've been
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah. I remember my grandmother making doilies. Oh my goodness. I mean, those are
Mm,
with steel hooks. How is, anyway, I digress.
I have made
Um,
one doily, and I gave it away as as a wedding present, and I hope that those people treasure it because it's the only one I've ever made.
and it's the last one you're gonna
It is the last
make.
one.
All right, I think um, we could do infinity scarf. Now, I don't have a heading for that, but that comes right
Mhm,
out of scarf.
mhm.
Let's talk lengths of scarves.
Yeah.
We've mentioned this a little bit. The Doctor Who scarf is, you could stand on one end of the property and hold one end and stand on the other end of the property and still not have the ends.
Just about,
It's
yeah.
just insane. But when I'm making a scarf, particularly for winter, I will do something around 72 inches long. I will go up to 80 if I want to get extra generous, but I also keep the width at about 8 to 9 inches so it doesn't get too bulky.
Yeah,
Um,
same. Oh,
yeah. So an infinity scarf is really just a regular scarf with the
mhm.
ends sewn together so that now it becomes a really big cowl so that you can
Uh-huh.
put it on. Of course, I don't have one here. Oh, wait, I do.
Ah.
All right, this is my Scarlet Snowberry
Yeah, you just re-released that one, didn't
Infinity.
you?
I did my Scarlet Snowberry,
Oh, that's so pretty.
and it's about 60 inches long
Yeah.
before you sew the ends together.
Mhm.
But it makes the absolute perfect length now to just do one loop, and this yarn is just to die for. This is
It is, it's so pretty.
Serdar's Jewel
Mm.
Spun,
Oh, fun.
um, and I it's so soft, and of course, the colors are gorgeous. But an infinity scarf, I usually make it about 60 to 64 inches long, and then sew the ends together, or I would do it in the round with that width, and then that way you can double wrap it, or you can let it hang long and it's not down to your knees.
Yeah. I only have one true infinity scarf. It's called Chutes and Ladders. It's a very, very beginner friendly one because it just has some single crochet sections and some double crochet chain one sections. It's just very good for learning, but it makes a nice, it was one of my first patterns. So cut me some break here. There's not a lot to it.
I have to share this one. Oh gosh, I'm not sure how you do that. I'm a self-confessed yarn snob. I don't buy big box chain store yarn for 15 and a half years now, rare occasions only, mostly baby blankets. Yeah. A lot of the reason, I mean, we can get into this on another occasion, but a lot of the reason why I do use more of the more commonly available yarns is just because I want people to be able to replicate my design. So
yeah,
it's harder
from a
when you
designer
get something.
standpoint,
Yeah, from a designer standpoint, sticking with those more common yarns is really about the only way we can go, because once you get into independently produced, then it gets almost impossible to replicate the sample, and it gets expensive too.
Yeah, and not to say that we don't ever use, because I can see that you like the jewel spun, so you're familiar with Sirdar and stuff. So I use those yarns as well, and I will use them for designing usually, but I'm along with Debbie. I tend to stick with like major brands that most people are buying right now. Although I personally, for my own self, like this is this is called Eco Fusion, and it is a yarn from South Africa. So it's, for my own personal use, I have a tendency to buy the more special yarns.
Yeah, and this one that I was wearing, oh, look at the coloring in this thing.
Isn't that pretty? I love that.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact, it might be either Madeline Tosh or one of my favorite indie dyers, but I just love the way the colors play through the stitches. Oh,
yeah,
gorgeous. But this is just
wonderful.
One hank, and that's probably an investment of $30 for the hank. I mean, it's not cheap, right?
No, it's not, and that's why we can't live there.
Connie asks, how wide do y'all do your infinity scarf? For me, I generally stick with that. It can be anywhere from 6 to 9 inches, but I think my snowberry, I think this is 12 or 14. I mean, it's pretty substantial because those are big granny squares. And then I added a fairly substantial border on both ends. So it's pretty thick.
I typically, if I'm going to make an infinity scarf, I will usually make it anywhere from 12 to 18 inches wide, just because I like to have the fold over ability of it as well. I told you, I had my infinity scarf, not my infinity, but my cowl out somewhere. Because I do the same thing with my cowls. I try to make them thicker so that they, just sit really nicely there. But I misplaced it, so I can't even show it to you. Like, what the heck?
So now I do, excuse me, behind me is one I designed this summer called the Anera Infinity Scarf. And it's basically the same length as the Snowberry. It's a little bit narrower. And I did it in a summer DK weight yarn. So there's an example of something that, if you happen to be out and about and it's a cool evening, that would be a great addition to any outfit.
And that one's super pretty too.
I can't, you've got me wanting to get out my fingering weight yarns. In fact, I think I'll do that after this broadcast. Anyway, let's go back. All right, we've done scarves. Hold on a second. Okay. We've done scarves. The next category, this has to be my favorite. I've got so many cowls in my wardrobe. To me, making cowls is a lot like making washcloths.
Okay.
They're small.
Mm-hmm.
You can try a new stitch, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a cowl out of one hank, and then you won't break the bank when you buy that expensive yarn.
Mm-hmm.
And they're great accessories for when you just want to throw something extra on. Like I'm wearing black, any extra cowl just adds
Yes.
that pop of color.
Yes. And the thing I love about cowls too is they're typically not as roomy as an infinity scarf. They're just right here. They're just super snug. And they're another one where it's like, bury your face in it. Cause I don't know what it is about. I don't wear things around my neck very often because I'm very, very warm all of the time. But and they say that we're supposed to have a cold winter in Pensacola this year. So, pray with me that it's
Bring
going to
it.
be
Bring it.
because I want to be able to wear my scarves. And when I get, it's like, I just want to do this, because it's so snuggly. I don't get to do it
They
very
are.
often.
They are. I have a couple here. This one is actually called A Touch of Fall. And I've done it in a couple of
Oh, it's
color
so pretty.
combinations. This one I actually did splurge on some expensive yarn, but it's 2 hanks, so you just buy one of each color and
Hmm.
it's good to go. But it's a little bit wider, so you're right, you could put this guy on. I don't usually put it up over my face, and my cowls are a little bit longer, but
But you definitely could if you wanted to.
I could if I wanted to.
Mhm.
Yeah, so as far as length is concerned, or cowls are usually done in the round,
Yeah.
I usually try to keep them at 30, somewhere in the early 30-inch range.
Mhm.
However, if you want something that will do what you want, Biz, it needs to
Mhm.
be in the upper 20s, I think.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's a little bit closer.
Yeah. My typical cowl sits about 35 to 36 inches if you want space around your neck. If you want, like you said, closer, I bring it into probably the 27, 28 area as far as like length.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I love them both, but to make them, I love making cowls. They're just so satisfying. They whip up in no time. And there are so many possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So many
For sure.
possibilities.
For sure.
Let's see. Think I wasn't able to grab this one out, but I have a fun cowl. I don't even know where this idea came from. I'm not really sure where half the ideas came from that I put into practice, but I did a cowl
Mm-hmm.
a couple of years ago because I had gotten, I think it might have been, Neighborhood Fiber Company. They do specialty yarns every now and
Okay.
then. And it was this absolutely gorgeous green color.
Mhm.
And I did hexagons. And
Mm.
of course, that doesn't make an even edge around the
Right.
top, right?
Right.
So what I did was I put a straight border. I made it straight across the top, and I made it jagged across the bottom, and then put
Oh, fun.
fringe only in the front.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
and it's just a really fun one. I wasn't able to get it out of storage for this broadcast, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's so many things you can do with cowls.
We have a
Um,
question from Carolina,
yes,
Carolina,
yes.
Carolina.
Kind of yarn should I use for scarf? Honestly, if you're going to wear them, I would say whatever feels really good against your skin. Biz, you were talking about using fingering weight, but when you're doing, let's say, a winter scarf or a fall
Mhm.
scarf, what do you normally gravitate toward?
Typically, okay, and this is just my personal preference. I typically gravitate towards DK weight yarns, especially when I'm making accessories. They feel like the worsted weights have a tendency, unless let me put a caveat on that. Worsted weights like wool ease or something like that that's actually a thinner worsted
Mm.
can also work because it's not as bulky. But something like I love this yarn, or a Red Heart Super Saver. For me, especially if you're going to put any kind of texture into it, it's
Mm-hmm.
bulky. They get a little bit stiff. I don't like all that up in my face. Now, this is a DK weight yarn. I like it because it makes it very fluid. It's still very soft. It's
The
still,
drape is great.
yes, the drape. And it's all about
Mm-hmm.
how you wear your items. So it's personal preference, really. And like you
And
said,
what its use is, what
yeah,
you're
what
going to use it
feels
for.
good.
Mhm.
Yeah. But if you don't like DK weight yarns, then I would try to lean more towards the thinner worsted weights.
Yeah, for scarves, I generally tend to gravitate toward worsted because they give a little more heft to
Mhm,
the scarf. For
mhm,
cowls, pretty much always DK weight. Um,
mhm,
and I can't wear wool. I can wear merino wool,
mhm,
superwash merino wool because it's soft, and it doesn't scratch. But
mhm,
I generally try to keep to fibers that don't scratch. I do love alpaca,
mhm,
um, but that can be pretty heavy and it's
mhm.
really warm,
Yeah.
really warm.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We do have a couple
Mhm,
of comments. Linnea says that the wool ease is more of a true worsted, and I love this yarn is actually more of an Aran weight yarn. That's good
mhm.
information to know. And
Yeah,
I don't necessarily do so well with knowing what all of the names of everything are, because I know that there's a difference between European and American. So I know that worsted weight is more of like a size 10 in like UK weight yarn. I don't know, maybe. Um, and then there's Aran weight, which is like just, chunkier and bulkier.
right. Yeah. And Connie says she loves cotton on her skin. I
Me
agree.
too. Me too.
I don't usually use cotton in the winter time, but for
It's
fall it would be
warm.
great because it's
Yeah.
nice and it can be warm, it's breathable, it's
Hmm.
has all of those qualities we want
For
from a
sure.
fall accessory.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. What is the newest thing that you see coming down the pike in fall fashion trends this year?
Well, I have to preface this by saying that there was an industry report on fashion trends for the fall.
Okay.
Um, and it encompassed a lot of different trends.
Hmm.
But one of them was granny squares.
Oh, fun.
Oh my goodness. And
Yay.
I'm breaking out my fingering weight yarn and I'm gonna make granny squares. That's how that goes. That's
Definitely.
one. I mean, granny squares, as in my opinion, in my humble opinion, can do just about anything you want them
Hmm.
to. And we spent a whole month celebrating them, so we all
Yes.
know that.
They are the
But
bomb.com.
there, I'm gonna have to trademark that. That's good. Um, but one of the things that I'm seeing, I actually saw it a season or two ago, and it's becoming more common, is adding a hood to a scarf or a cowl. Have you
Hmm.
seen this?
Yes, I have.
Mm.
Definitely. And I've not done it, but it does not look like it's very hard. Have you done it?
No, but it's on my list, my to-do list for the fall and
It really
winter.
looks like it's just two straight pieces that you just
Right. So I
put
think what
together.
you can do, I haven't tried it, so don't quote me on any of this, people.
Mhm.
Um, I think what you do is you make a regular cowl or you make a regular scarf.
Uh-huh.
And then in the center of it, or where it would be around the back and to the front, you
Mhm.
can just start crocheting along the top, back and forth
Mm.
in rows. When it gets long enough, you sew that seam at the top, and you've got a hood
Okay.
that can become part of the scarf, and the cowl.
We have an Australian joining us.
I have a few, but I mostly use fingering weight. Yes, okay, so I mean, that's a perfect example of the weight of yarn really depends upon where you live, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
she uses fingering weight yarn because, and it's sometimes harder to get patterns because,
Yeah.
again, as designers, we try to stick with more mainstream yarns so that it's accessible to the general public.
Yeah.
And fingering weight yarns just aren't there yet. They
No.
just aren't part of the
Well, maybe we should
mainstream.
make a mission. We should make it our mission.
We've got a bunch of missions, and I
Oh,
like
we
it.
do. They're starting to stack up.
I know my to-do list is just ridiculous right now. But I love it. I mean, I'm like a kid in a candy shop. Tell me
Uh-huh.
you want a certain design or you want to try a certain stitch or you want
Mhm.
I go, "Okay, give me a moment. Let me go
Mhm.
write that down. I
Yep.
gotcha."
Yep.
And I've got too many of those I've gotchas
Mhm.
on
Yeah,
my
because then
list.
I become myopically focused on, okay, oh, I gotta go do this. I gotta go do that. And I get so distracted so easily as it is. Ah, jeez.
Oh, one more.
Holidays, letting
Yes,
us know. Yep. Those are good sources.
Ravelry and Love Crafts. Yes, they do have plenty of pattern options. But I do think, um, again, it's talking from a designer's perspective. We try to honor our personal
Yeah.
style,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
So my style is different from Biz's, and Biz's is
Mhm.
different from mine. Um, but we also try to fill voids when we see them, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful to talk about these things with other people because we don't know necessarily what's missing, and we can help fill
Yeah.
those gaps.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the other things that has become really, really popular because mostly of the Wednesday TV show, or not TV show, but Netflix series, is the snood. The snood is making a
Yes.
comeback.
What is that?
So it's just a tube, basically. It's
Oh,
literally just a really freaking long cowl, excuse my language. But it just because then you just put it up over your head. It's like a hood with a cowl on the bottom of it. So I mean, it's cute. I
so
I
why
wouldn't
am I
wear
not
I wouldn't
making
wear it,
them?
but the young ones like it. Yeah,
Well,
basically.
there's another to do.
And a lot of people, because they are pulling it from the Wednesday show, a lot of them are doing that black and white on one side, rainbow on the other,
Mm.
or all black and white because Wednesday's all into, and especially with the Halloween season coming up, the creepy
Oh man,
aspect
that
of
would be awesome,
that's
right?
very, very popular right now.
Uh, oh my
And
gosh, you had
I hope I'm not saying your name wrong, but Jai or G, I apologize if I say that incorrectly. You're a yarn snob too, and that's okay. It is good
you
to
know
be a
what?
yarn snob sometimes.
Yep, I
We all
agree.
have our hang-ups and we all have our things that we love and don't love. And you know what? If you like pretty yarn, do it.
You know, if I'm gonna take that much time to make something for myself, it needs to be
Absolutely.
something I absolutely adore. So
Mhm.
you go.
Yep, for sure.
Absolutely.
And
Uh,
Connie, my dear friend Connie, she said a snood sounds like a stuck-up cowl.
well, we love you.
We do, and it kind of is, I guess, or is it a hippie cowl? I kind of look at it as more of a relaxed cowl because it's got the hood on it and stuff like that, and I feel like it's more fringe wear. It's more like college kids wearing it, that kind
Right,
of
and
stuff.
you know what? I absolutely see it on the runway. Can't you just imagine a
Yes,
model wearing it on it seems like it would be
definitely.
that kind of
Oh, Renee
accessory.
says she doesn't see Connie's comments. It's because Connie's on Facebook right now, so we can see her because we're streaming there. So I apologize. Unfortunately, if you're not on YouTube, I didn't realize that you couldn't see Facebook comments, but yeah. So we'll try to include Connie's comments on screen when they need to be.
Here, I tell you what, we'll let you see this one. Sorry. I digress. That to me seems to be the big trends. I mean, I had to get a plug in there for my granny squares, right? But I
Absolutely.
think the
Yeah.
hoods being added
Mhm.
to scarves, pocket scarves and pocket shawls have been
Mhm.
huge deal now for 2 or 3 years, and I
Couple
don't see
years now,
those
yeah.
going away anytime soon. And we're going to
No.
talk about shawls and wraps in a couple of
Yes.
weeks, but so we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But
Yeah.
um, I have been just, and it's another thing on my let's try it list. Haven't
Yeah.
quite figured out how to make it work yet, so it's not happening. But when that light bulb finally goes off,
Yeah.
there will be a pocket shawl in my shop.
In your
So
collection, that's right.
there you go. That's right.
You have a list. We all have a list.
It's really long. And this afternoon I have to start something else. So
Oh my gosh, me too.
yep, but
Me
it's so much
too.
fun. It's so much fun to start new things.
It is.
Well, unless our commenters have something else they want us to talk about, I think we've exhausted um, all
We've
of
had
the
a good
things.
conversation about neckwear today.
Oh, Connie says it's easy. Well, okay. So yes, it's easy. A pocket shawl is easy, yes, but I don't know. I get if it's a design element I haven't tried yet, it takes me forever to figure out what's going to be the perfect one for me. And
Mhm.
once I get it figured out, then I can crank them out left and right.
Mhm.
But that's one of those I haven't figured out the exact thing I want. So,
Yeah, it has to speak to you
yeah.
because you're going to be making it more than once.
All right.
But we're not quite done.
Oh, we're
We
not.
do have no, because what are we doing on Instagram this month?
Oh, I don't have a banner. So let me get a banner up while you start to explain.
Okay, so we're going to have some fun on Instagram this month. It's kind of in conjunction with our podcast on YouTube. Excuse me. So if you're on Instagram, we are going to be running a challenge for the month of September where we are going to be having you share your fall fashion favorites. And every day of the week, we are going to be giving you a prompt so that you can take a picture of or share a picture that you've already taken of some of the prompt that is that day. And so at the end of the week, we also have a hashtag that you are going to need to use, which is going to be crochet fall fashion challenge 23. And she'll have that up
Wait,
there. Yep, no problem. She'll have that
crochet
up there in just a second.
23.
But you need to use the hashtag and follow the prompts. We're going to be watching it, and each week we are going to be. Oh, you forgot the word challenge. Um,
All right, hold on. Let me
okay,
edit it.
okay, back up, rewind. I'm going to go back to. We have a hashtag that you're going to need to use on Instagram so that we can keep track of everybody that's participating. And at the end of each week, we are going to give away a free pattern from either Debbie or my Ravelry account. And to whomever is in there, you're all going to go in the pot and we're going to pull a name out. And so
Yes.
we hope that you participate because we want to see everything that you're doing. And then each week on Friday, because we're here every Friday at 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, we are going to announce the winners. You don't have to be from the United States. You can be from anywhere. So as
Mhm.
long as you participate on Instagram, because it's part Instagram, part YouTube. And then we want
That
you to
was
come
perfect.
so you can be a part of the drawing. Yay.
All right, so that means we have to get our act together and do the drawings before our podcast.
What? We can do it. We know how.
All right, I'm going to add this last one so that you
What's
know.
the Instagram site? It's Instagram.com. It's
Yes.
available as an app. It's easier. I want to say it's easier to use as an app. However, it is available on PC, and I just did a big download today on my computer instead of my app. So it works just as well in both places.
Yeah, it used to be just the app because they wanted you to spend all your time in the app. But they realized that for those of us who are loading large things in there, that it just gets to be tedious doing it
Yep,
on our little phone.
it
So
is.
you can go to Instagram.com and sign into your account, which
Mhm.
usually is, for me, it's Instagram.com/Madam Stitch. And I'm
Uh-huh.
sure it's Busy Crochet for you,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So whatever your Instagram handle is becomes that backward slash, tack
Mhm.
that on to
Can you
Instagram.com.
can you put our Instagram handles as a banner real
I
quick?
will. Let
Do
me just
yours
get that
first, and
up.
then mine has
No,
a
I'm gonna do yours first.
underscore between my words.
Yes, you got me confused. Oh,
I'm
it's gonna put a
sorry.
period there. All right. Um, and a Madam Stitch with an E. All right, so let's show this one. All right, here we go.
Yep.
There we
Okay.
are.
So those are our Instagram handles. We would love it if you'd follow us just so that, you can kind of keep up with what we're doing there as well. We do reels. We let you know notifications when we have new patterns. Anytime we're involved in any kind of a collaboration with another group of designers, we put kind of everything on there. We
Yep.
do a lot of stuff on Facebook as well, but Instagram's kind of the place we start.
So that's where it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And I know Biz has already beat me to the punch, but she's already posted the carousel that explains everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Tomorrow,
Mhm.
we will post the week of daily prompts
Thank you,
and
Lene.
the
Oh, sorry.
first and the day one prompt.
Yes.
So yeah, so you will every day we'll make sure that we post the daily prompt with the hashtag you're supposed to use.
Yes.
Um, we still have some stuff we need to finish up for it, but I think it's going to be a ton of fun.
We are going to have fun.
Yes.
Yes, we are. It's going to be a good time.
Speaking of good times, what have you been watching this week? So we always have to just
We got to finish
plug
up with.
our true. Yep.
Mhm.
So what have you been able to watch this week?
So I have been on BritBox this week, because just because, and okay. So I finished up last week. I was watching the Terminal List. I finished the Terminal List, and that was good. I wonder if they're going to do a second one. Could do a second one possibly. Um, but with the strike, who knows? But I also on BritBox today, or in the last couple days, I'm going to finish that last episode today. It's called Karen Pirie, Pirie, and it is about a young Scottish. It's a Scottish show with I love the accents, but they're not so brogue that you can't understand them. But it's a young DCI. Anyway, she's the boss. And so she's young and she ends up with a young guy who is her assistant, and she gets this 25-year-old murder that she has to solve, and she is on the cusp. I'm on the cusp of finding out who the bad guy is. So I don't know who it
So,
is. But it's really good. It's a cute little show.
all right, tell me the name again.
Karen Pirie, Pirie.
All right, that's going on my watch list. That sounds really
That's
good.
also getting really long.
Yeah, but I think we've discovered that, at least in my case, it's either something I can watch by myself or it has to be husband friendly.
Yeah,
So
and it's only has 3 episodes, so it's not a forever thing.
that's good. Are they long episodes? Because BritBox tends to
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
All right.
It's
Well,
British produced, so yeah.
it's a commitment. Yes, it's a commitment. Um, I just can't make commitments right now. I'm sorry. Um, but anyway, I actually this week found a show that my husband really likes, and you're gonna laugh.
What is it?
A long time ago when it first came out, I watched White Collar religiously on network TV.
Okay.
Do you not know this show?
White collar, yeah.
Yeah. And so I loved it because I loved the characters. I loved the stuff that they did and the way they interacted with each other. Um,
That's the one with Matt
and
Bomer, right?
yeah,
Okay.
it's very easy on the eyes. But anyway, um, I I thought I guess it's now all the seasons are on Hulu. So I thought, I'm
Okay.
just going to give that a try the other night. The Phillies weren't playing, so I tried it and he really liked it. And so we
God.
watched a second episode last night. It was really kind of fun for me to go back to the very beginning and
Uh-huh.
see how the relationship started because I only remember later in the seasons when I was
Mhm.
watching it most
Yeah.
recently. So I'm watching it again. He's watching it for the first time. Now we won't be able to watch it tonight because the Phillies are really hot right now. I mean,
That just hurts me
really hot right
inside.
now. So baseball's on TV tonight.
Okay, this is starting to get itchy.
Notice. Mine's gone.
I mean, it's summer, y'all.
Oh my gosh. All right. I
Yes, so the
think
Phillies are playing and they're really, really hot right now, so you can't watch it?
well, I could. I mean, he'll let me watch up to a certain hour in the evening and then I switch it over to the game. But the stadium is selling out every time they play at home.
Wow.
All summer long, it's been that way.
That's
Um,
awesome.
they are just and they're really hot right now, so that's fun. Anyway, I think that's it, Biz. I
For
know
another week, we've
for
come to
another
the end.
week, but I really appreciate. I have to thank everybody for coming.
Yes,
It's so much fun
it
to see
is.
what you guys have to think. Um, we live in our own little bubbles in, Pennsylvania and Florida, and so it's so fun to see what you have to think about crochet and
Yes.
have a discussion about it. I just
We
love
love
it.
the
So,
feedback. Absolutely love the
yeah,
feedback.
absolutely. Keeps us sharp. It helps us expand on our topic, and I think it's just a great thing. So, thank you
Mhm.
for everybody who showed up. Thank you for everyone who's watched the replay all the way through because we really appreciate you being here.
We love you.
And join us next week for the next episode of There's No Crying in Crochet. Like I
Yes.
said, next week is an informational. So we're going to talk
Yes.
all things crochet skills. And if
Mhm.
all goes well, we're going to be talking about gauge and finished measurements. I know, the dreaded gauge swatch. We're going to tackle it.
Lene's in Western Washington State near the Canadian border. So
Uh,
is it a little
sweet.
chilly there yet, Lene?
I bet they've had a heat wave on and off because I've noticed hot weather that far north.
Mhm. Look at everybody's been getting stocked. Thank you,
Uh,
Carolina.
Thank you. I think we're going to go ahead and sign off. And
Mhm.
we hope to see you all back here
Yes.
next week at 2
Yes.
Eastern. And
Come and discuss, I'm sorry, 1 PM Central, and come and
yeah,
discuss, patterns with us because we need you here next week too.
yeah, bring all of your issues with gauge and finished measurements and all of that kind of
Mhm.
stuff because we are going to tackle it. All right, we got to run,
Yeah, we do.
but we will see you again next time.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.